Well, things are getting dry. I've virtually run out of water, so I need to start thinking about what I'm going to do. There's some storms forecast this week, and I'm looking forward to those. Bit of thunder and lightning, but most importantly, some rain. Well, I turned my back and this happened. We've actually got hugely overgrown behind here, and I need to clear it out because this is where I keep my hose, and that's how I get the water. So before I start thinking about water, I need to get this cleared out. Not looking forward to that. Loads of stinging nettles, quite a lot of couch grass. In fact, the weeds on the plot, mainly barbs, are becoming a bit of a challenge. Let me show you what's going on and what weed challenges I've got at the moment. I did show you the other day the couch grass growing around some of the onions, so I need to solve that. And good old mare's tail or horse tail in some of these broccoli, and I notice I've got some groundsel in there as well, so that's got to come out. And amongst the beds, not too bad, bits of grass. There's some mare's tail in there and a few spurious seedlings of various things in there. And my Bedfordshire champion has got some grass, some forget-me-nots, and looks like some thistles. So there's quite a bit to do in there. This net, which is purely to keep cats off, has got to come off now because we've got some interruption to growth going on here because of the net, and one or two of these onion sets are actually coming through the net. And we've got some stinging nettles, of course, and some dock leaves. This bed's pretty good because I've just done it. This is my runner bean bed, and we've got some mare's tail coming out of there, some grass and some forget-me-nots. Nothing is too much density, and therefore this isn't a big job, but it just means I've got to go through all of the beds. And here, this is what happens if I don't cover with nets, and I know what's going to be under that pile of soil, unfortunately. We've got a little bit of bindweed growing in amongst these broad beans. I noticed there's a broad bean pod on here, which is nice to see. So I need to clear out there. And just looking at my courgettes, which are doing just fine. And I cleared this bed not long ago. We've already got some weed in there. So this method of putting the collars round is working out okay. And I was joking the other day with one of our subscribers, and lots of people have been telling me that they're suffering from slugs. And I said that I was using slate traps, which was a bit tongue-in-cheek, but actually that's what I'm doing. So these slates, they just hold the damp underneath them, and therefore if there's any slugs that are going to find some place to hide during the heat of the day, that's where they go. And that's what I've been using to try and eliminate any slugs from damaging these squash and pumpkins. And so far, so good. I picked these up this morning. There shouldn't be anything under them, but you can see how it's still slightly damp, and that works a treat. So far, these squash and pumpkins have actually held quite well. There's a little bit of damage on that one, and I've had a look for that slug, but can't find it. And I've had a little bit of damage on this one, and again, can't find the perpetrator of the crime. But there we are, things are working out quite well. And what's gratifying about all of these squash and pumpkins is normally I experience yellowing of the leaves, and that's because they go from the warmth of the polytunnel into the relative coolness of the outside air. But of course, because we've had this really warm period, they haven't suffered from that at all, and they're looking really good. Thank you to everybody for their suggestions as to what to do about sawfly. And as you can see, my bushes have been stripped right up to this one, and from here I started to manually or physically remove sawfly caterpillars. And I found the best method was just to get hold of the bush and give it a good shake. And of course, because I'm on this black membrane, they just fall and I can see them. And then I unceremoniously crush them with my big size 9. And that seems to do the trick. And what I've been trying to do is arrest the damage by stopping them from coming over here. And they've been getting in here, but I have been dealing with these differently. And there we are. There's 2 just fallen there now. Turn away. And they're gone. Magic. And I'm gonna just shake this a bit more. And I've been doing this every day, and I seem to have succeeded in removing them mainly from these bushes, and I'm hoping that that will protect these. Time will tell. This one also is far enough away. And I've forgotten that I've actually got some backup gooseberries, which are right down the bottom of the plot. And because I've opened up this area at the bottom, lifting the canopy of the holly tree and basically dealing with the grass and all the growth around this area, this massive gooseberry bush, which hasn't given me a great deal of fruit in the past, is certainly opened up to the sunshine. And I did notice the other day I'm getting a few gooseberries on it. You can see one in there. In fact, there's a couple in there. But these never seem to get very large. I'm hoping that opening it up to the light like this will really benefit. Carrying on the theme of weeds, I haven't completely got rid of the bindweed in here, and you can see some's growing up this netting, but I keep taking it from the root and giving it a good pull to break it, and that of course kills all the upper growth. And this area, the whole purpose of turning this over to the chickens was to give them some freedom of movement, and also to stop this being such a weed intensive area. And you can see here where the bindweed is still coming through, and I do need to get in there and take it from the roots. But apart from these stinging nettles, which they're really not bothered with, they seem to be rooting out everything else, which is really helpful. And my potatoes, well, having the water butt over there has been really helpful for watering these. And these are actually doing better than the ones that I took out of the polytunnel and just put onto the patio there. In fact, I'd say these have caught up with those. And it begs the question whether starting any in the polytunnel is really worthwhile at all. And they're doing really well. So that's 6 Desirées and the rest are Charlotte. And keep watering them and hopefully we'll have a good crop. The garlic has been probably the tallest garlic I've ever grown, and it too needs another weed. We've got some grasses in here, and of course the bindweed, which we need to keep down. And I reckon this garlic will need to go until, well, the middle, maybe to the end of July. We'll see how we go. But at the moment, I've got some bolting going on, and I've got no sign of rust. Touch wood. Let me find some wood, because that seems to be the biggest problem in here, at least on this plot. So having all the garlic away from its traditional locations further up the plot certainly seems to be paying dividends. Down in the nursery, under the dappled shade of the tree, we've got some strawberry plants, lots of flowers on those. And of course the gooseberries that I moved out of this area where I've got the potatoes at the moment And I put them into pots just to see if I could keep them going and maybe be able to use them in the future. And indeed, they've got some gooseberries on, which is surprising. That's a nice strawberry pot as well. And same with this one, lots of small gooseberries. And in there, I need to do a bit of watering in there by the looks of it. We've got the raspberry canes that I potted on a year or so ago, and some spare rhubarb. The gooseberry that I put into the pot, it's not looking good, but we'll give it 2 chances. Just let it go through until the winter month and see if it roots successfully. Well, the chicken run always suffers from weeds around the edge, and the stinging nettles are doing their usual trick, and there's an awful lot of bindweed along those edges as well. And I think I need to get in here and remove some of these stinging nettles before they get too vigorous. My plum tree is looking very healthy. It's never given me any plums. This year it's certainly flowered, but I can't see any sign of fruit growth, which is disappointing, but I don't know. Maybe I just got to be patient and see what comes through. I can see there are some sort of viral infection on the leaves up here, and that's on the new growth, so don't know. This has always been a difficult growing area for fruit, and the apple trees, which I've given a thorough pruning, have really been difficult in this area. But all the leaves on this, since I've given it that hard prune, do seem to be a lot healthier. There's still some problem growth, but generally the health of the leaves is better. So I don't know, jury's out on Bramley apples. Well, one of the subscribers pointed out that I need to be careful with my Jostaberries because sawfly apparently can damage them. So fingers crossed, there doesn't seem to be any evidence of it at the moment. What we have got is quite a lot of good Jostaberry growth, and I'm looking forward to a good crop there. Most of the bushes seem to have good amounts of berries on them, even if they are sort of tucked away. Of course, we've got some stinging nettles in here as well. It really is that time of year where the weeds try and push through, so I'm going to try and give them a bit of a bashing today and work my way around the plot. This apple tree has been fantastic. It was great last year and it's looking really good this year, and it has so many apples on it. And I found last year that if I really thinned them out, I increased the size quite significantly, and it was covered in flower, so I'm hoping that I'm going to have another good season of apples from this tree. It's probably the best tree on the plot. Rhubarb needs harvesting now, and it's not been a great start to the rhubarb season, although these plants have always done well. This one's flowering again, so I'm going to be taking those off. This one's just about recovering, and the one that I did the forcing of, I really think I might have killed it. I won't do anything with it now until next season and just see whether I get any growth, but it certainly took a bashing. And this one, similarly, it's flowered a lot and just not done very well since it flowered. So it's a strange season for rhubarb, well, certainly for some varieties anyway. Dahlias are looking well. This one's certainly becoming quite vigorous. And I know a lot of people were interested in how the ranunculus were performing, and I'd have to say not well, although I noticed yesterday first buds on a few of these plants, so fingers crossed we'll have a few flowers and it'll be nice to see them. There's another one there and another one there, so fingers crossed. And this is the sunflower teddy bear. It's a short variety, but I lost one plant in the corner. There's still 5 good ones there, so looking forward to those. And the dahlias I didn't want too many dahlias, but these few that I have sown and successfully planted on, they're doing well. So I'm hoping I'll add to my stock. That's from the Figaro mix, and this one is the dwarf variety. So at least I've got a couple of each. There's a tiny little one down there. I do hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and if you want updates from me each time I upload a video, click the bell and select all. I do hope you have a great day. Diolch yn fawr.